We are now joined live from New York City by Allison Josephs of the Jewish Institute for Television and Cinema. Thank you very much for being here. And let's start by telling us more about the shocking results of this study.
Yeah, so I think that there is this misconception that because Jews, quote unquote, run Hollywood, that our representation is fine. And so I think we need to clarify that misconception, which I would actually call a trope. 100 years ago, several Jews founded Hollywood because they were escaping persecution. They were shut out of many fields, not so different from what we're seeing today, to be honest. And they built this empire of their own, as historian Neil Gabler put it. But a lot of what they built into the Jewish characters that they put on the screen was that sense of shame and, self-hatred that they got. And what that looked like was self-erasure, assimilation, caricatures, tropes. And to be fair, much of Hollywood was doing this to many minority groups for most of the time. This study focused on Jews in general, and then we had a smaller subset on Orthodox Jews. We would love to also study Israeli characters in a future study. It's our hypothesis that the Israeli character that used to be the helpful Krav Maga person or the ex-Mossad agent that would help fight the bad guys, there's now what we're seeing anecdotally is an increased viciousness and violence in Israeli characters and kind of putting the blood libel of Jews onto the Israeli characters themselves. And so we'd like to study how those characters used to be and how they're being portrayed now. But if you kind of take a step back and you think about the vilification of Orthodox Jews, and that was actually the most vilified group of the bunch, with, about half of Orthodox mentions being negative or judgmental, around a third of speaking Orthodox Jews being ex-Orthodox, a high frequency of dissatisfaction in their lives. If you think about what makes us uniquely Jewish, it's our heritage and it's our land. And if you think about Jews that are the most connected to Jewish heritage and the most connected to Jewish land, it's not surprising that that would be the ways that we would be the most attacked on screen. And so we need to be aware that these issues exist, and we need to demand the same protections every other group gets. And that's exactly the work that JITC Hollywood Bureau is doing.
Well, and it's a lot of work. I mean, we're seeing also, the silence of so many, Jewish celebrities that haven't spoken up. Of course, we know, many who have, Michael Rappaport, Deborah Messing, for example. But also the truth is so many of the producers, directors as well are Jews, which is seemingly, carrying on the whole idea of a history of assimilating because of what happened even in the time of Louis B. Mayer and whatnot. So what can be done also within the entertainment industry to make a difference and change that?
So one of the things, besides getting the consultants in the room and sort of calling out what the problems are, we would like to build writers' labs in the future where we take Jewish writers and we teach them Torah, we teach them Jewish history, we have them have meaningful Shabbat and holiday experiences, so Jewish pride and Jewish knowledge can be filled within, and that will affect the types of storytelling that we do. It's not surprising that after thousands of years of being exiled and persecuted and pogromed, that we would be filled with some, shame. And while the founders of Hollywood ran from their Jewish identity in order to try to escape antisemitism, the message that we're trying to give over with JITC Hollywood Bureau is lean in harder, lean in prouder, know who you are. Like, take Michael Rappaport. He's been rapping to fill in, since probably January of last year, doing this very publicly. Let's stop apologizing and being ashamed for our unique traditions. Let's find the meaning and beauty in them. We have to realize now, when the world hates us so much, we can only respond with a greater amount of self-love. So we want to try to build a new crop of Jewish creatives that have that kind of love, put those expressions on the screen, and inspire Jews all around the world.
Wow, beautifully said. Thank you very much, Allison Josephs of the Jewish Institute for Television and Cinema. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me on.